Hey guys, so in this video I'll be giving you some tips to score higher in pop-up cups and tournaments like the current Share the Love tournament that Epic is running. The gameplay in the background was from the Share the Love solo qualifier on Saturday from 10 PM to 1 AM, so it was definitely sweatier than the afternoon section. This was my first game, which I ended up winning, and I'll both discuss my thought process during the game as well as some more general tips for early, mid, and late game. Before we get into it, I'll just explain the Share the Love ranked tournament that Epic is hosting right now. So on Saturday and Sunday, there were qualifiers for both duos and solos, where based on your highest score from any of the 3 sessions, you're placed into one of 4 different divisions. The top 1,000 players or highest scores will be placed into the Champions Division, the next top 3% into the Contender Division, the next 20% after that into the Prospect Division, and then the rest will be placed into the Open Division. Then, until the 22nd of February, there will be daily pop-up cups, which are currently running right now, where if you earn a pin, which is 15 points, you progress into the next division. If you earn a pin in the Champions Division, which is the hardest division, you are invited to the Grand Finals, which will be on the 23rd and 24th of February. Everyone, including underage players, can play in these, which is cool, because the finals have no monetary prizes. The only prizes are in-game sprays. And if you're asking what the point of the whole thing is then, well, it's mainly to improve and just play against better players. The Champions Division and the Grand Finals will probably be filled with just pro players and really well-known competitive players, so it'll be a great opportunity for unknown gods to kind of get their names out there. And then it's also really good practice for the Fortnite World Cup, which is happening later this year, and I bet the prize pool for that will be tens of millions of dollars. Now that I explained that, we can get into the gameplay, starting with how I play the early game. I'll define the early game as your drop from the battle bus, looting up, and then staying alive until the end of the first circle. The first thing you should do, and is mainly what I do before every tournament or pop-up cup, is just practice with a drop spot that you're comfortable with. So personally, I've been dropping shifty shafts or fatal fields because of how close they are to the middle of the map, and they're usually not as contested as hotspots like Tilted or Salty or Westworld. I drop low and aim for the front door, so I'm the first person in the house, and then I find an SMG. I know there's a guy above me who landed on the roof, and I hear him break into the attic and start looting the chest. The reason I run up to challenge him is, first off, I can catch him by surprise. Second, I heard him pick up a gun, but I didn't hear the cockback of a shotgun, so I know that I can probably beat him with my silenced SMG because I know he doesn't have a shotgun. And lastly, because of the tournament rules, I get 50 health or shield back if I kill him, so I'm not really scared to lose health in a gunfight, as I know even if I kill him, I can still be pretty healthy for another fight if someone else challenges me. If you guys haven't played in a tournament or with pop-up cup rules yet, they're different than normal public matches. So first, your materials are capped at 500 per material, so instead of having 1,000 max wood, brick, and steel for a total of 3,000 max mats, the max mats you can have is now 1,500 total. This is of course offset by the harvesting rate, which is increased by 40%, so now if you're farming a tree or rock, you'll get 40% more brick or wood. Lastly is for every kill you get, you gain back 50 health or shield, and you get an extra 50 wood, brick, and metal that right now is dropped on the ground, but it used to be granted straight into your inventory. This is Epic's current competitive rule set, and they're pretty much trying to incentivize more fighting and less turtling late game. The scoring for the actual cup goes like this. If you get 3 kills, you get 1 point. 5 kills you get another, and then 7 kills you get another point for a total of 3 kill points. For placement, you get 1 point for top 10, another for top 3, and then 3 points for winning the game, for a total of 8 points if you win the game with 7 kills, which is a max point score. It's the same for duos, but you get a point at 4, 6, and 8 kills instead. So your goal is to get as many points as you can in the 3-hour period. For pop-up cup, it's 5 hours. You should at least aim to get a pin. Obviously, the catch is that you're matched against players with similar points as you get more points yourself, so the games will get much harder and sweatier. These are just important to keep in mind as the game progresses, especially when you take fights in the early game. So as you can see, after I got the early kill, I've just been playing pretty carefully and looking out for anyone and just farming materials. I know that Fatal is great for wood and brick, but it lacks a lot of metal, so I know I'll have to find buses or other things to farm on the way to zone. Your goal by the end of first circle should be to have 800 mats minimum, and you should have chosen your loadout so far. So what I mean by that is that you'll have to decide whether you should run 3 weapons and 2 heals, 4 weapons and 1 heal, 3 weapons, utility and heals, or even 2 weapons and utilities and heals. You'll need to decide these things on the fly, and they should be based on how many grenades or medkits do you have the option to carry. So an example would be 3 stinks will benefit you far more than 1 mini shield. My thought process in game is that I know Fatal doesn't have any vehicles, so after eating some apples and getting back to 200 health, I run to zone, which is just outside of Salty, and not too far away. I see multiple people in the river rotating up the mountain and spot one in front of me. I choose to engage with the person in front of me because I know that I have the time to kill them and everyone else is rotating away, so there's not really a good chance that anyone will come to third party. After I get 2 shots off on him, I duck behind the shed to try and, juke him out behind the natural cover, and then I start pushing and putting on some pressure. But as I build up, I start to hear someone gliding in from behind the guy that I'm pushing, so I decide to just play it slow and back up. No matter how good you are in these tournaments, you will get dumb players like the guy gliding in completely away from zone to third party your fight. So I hear them fighting, I wait for one of them to die, and then I build up for height. After a quick little build battle, he ends up dropping down from height, and then I get a quick shot off when I drop down too. I spray down his wall and he gets a nice pump off me because I didn't build my wall quick enough. At this point, he's waiting for the usual window edit, so I hit him with the edit from my advanced editing tips video and I secure the kill. With 3 kills, I finally got my first point, and now I have max mats and a pretty nice loadout overall. So when I played this on Saturday, this was before Deagles got nerfed in patch 7.40, which came out today. So they were definitely really overpowered then. I'm not sure how good they'll be now, but you see me pick one up and I end up using it over an SMG for the rest of the game. This is the beginning of what I call the mid game, which is, I'll say, from the end of the first circle to maybe the end of the 3rd or 4th circle, depending on how many people are alive. Some tips for mid games are to only fight people where you know you can win the fight and you know you can win it quickly. You never want to get caught up in a fight when the next zone is across the map, because without any mobility you'll just end up dead. If you're not already good on mats, you should definitely be trying to get max wood and either brick or metal because you won't have the chance to farm up late game. You can also scavenge around unlooted areas and get extra heals and ammo from the ammo crates. This is when you should set your plan on where you're going to rotate to. I see the 3rd zone is just by me and it includes a mountain right in front of me, so I build up and make a wood base on it. I use the trees around me to just replenish my mats, and then I scout out the area waiting for the next zone, basically just seeing where everyone is and where I'll likely rotate to. Parts of the game like this are definitely boring, but they're necessary if you ever expect to get high points and place high in tournaments like this. So now we'll get into the late game. Because this was the first qualifier game, it had less than 10 people late game, but as you can see, everyone was pretty sweaty, including myself, and we all had a decent idea of what we were doing. I said it before, but you can see I'm abusing the Deagle, taking pop shots at this player's wall and kind of making him just use up all of his materials. I have over 100 heavy ammo, as you can see, so I have no problem using it to not only waste his materials, but just get inside his head. So much of Fortnite tournaments are mental games. When people get shot at, they usually take it pretty personally and will more often than not have a personal vendetta against you. You just need to remember to stay calm and level-headed in these tournaments because you will get screwed over by RNG, planes, RPG, glitches, third parties. I mean, the list can go on and on. So take a deep breath and realize it's not the end of the world if you die. You always have next game. But back to my tips for late game. The main thing you need to take into account for late game is rotations. This is where your game sense and your awareness will kick in. You need to know who's around you, where the zone is, and plan where you're going and how you're going to get there. This is also where you use your jump pads, your rift-to-goes, and other mobility items that you saved up. If it's a moving zone over a hill and you barely have any mats, then it's probably time to use a rift-to-go. But if you're on high ground and zone is close, you should probably rotate late and just build to zone. After you pick where you're going to rotate and how you're going to get there, you need to think about if you're going to land in high ground, mid ground, or low ground. And these things should just be dependent on everything I mentioned so far. As you can see, I'm just trying to build up to the mountain and connect to it so I wouldn't get shot out by a Deagle. And the whole time I'm applying pressure to other people building up, and I'm also trying to protect myself from getting shot. After I get onto the mountain, I have no mats and get shot at by a player who's struggling to get up, but luckily I stay calm, I hit my shots and I kill him. Unfortunately, since mats don't go directly to your inventory, I'm still out of mats, and a guy gets above me from a rift. I hide under his builds and I play the low ground trying to heal, but I don't have enough time to pop a mini. I end up falling down the mountain and I kind of just sit there and wait for him to peek, as I know he's pretty low from zone damage and the shot I hit him with already. Again, I stayed calm and I waited for him to fall down and I secure the win with a nice shot. In this game, I ended up with 7 points from getting the win and 5 kills. Overall, you can see how important your game sense and your mental strength are in performing well in these tournaments. If you guys want a video to go more in depth into scrims and 20+ point pop-up games, then just let me know, but this should be a solid introduction to scoring more points in tournaments and pop-up cups. As always, if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications. This video shoutout goes to Aiden, who used my code JerianGrant in the item shop. So that's it for me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.